All right, with us in the studio is Public Affairs, Public Relations Officer and Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Dr. Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. It's nice to have you join us right now.
Thank you for having me once again.
Now, every day, in fact, the last few weeks, everyone has been complaining and talking about the heat waves right now. Is this just climate change or there's something more to it?
Well, it all started as climate change, all part of the global warming, because we know a lot of our activities as humans have actually led to a lot of release of some harmful pollutants into the air, and this has caused an increase in the temperature generally in the atmosphere. Then also, you could also have high atmospheric pressure that once it stays high for a long time, it starts gravitating back towards lower lands where we stay, and this has caused an increase in this temperature. So basically, it's global warming that is a result of this. And unique factors for us in Lagos and even in Nigeria is our population, because Lagos now we're like 22 million, so there are a lot of people. We have a lot of concrete buildings around, a lot of our activities, industrialization. We have a lot of cars releasing pollutants into the air. So all this automatically leads to like a chain of effects that eventually leads to climate change, global warming being one of them, even depletion of the ozone layer. So a lot of these, there are so many factors that have all come together to lead to this increased temperatures that we're experiencing.
Right now.
We are definitely feeling the brunt.
Yeah. Because of the impact, a lot of persons have come out to say this should be declared a public health issue.
Well, yes, it should actually be declared, well, a public health issue, yes, because it's affecting a lot of people, and also because there are heat and heat-related illnesses that can come about as a result of heat, and it's being underplayed. It's not really, maybe because we don't have enough data to show the deaths that actually result from heat, but indeed it causes a lot of havoc in lives of people, especially those that are based in the north, because they experience more extreme temperatures, and it could lead to things like the barest minimum, which is what we might probably be used to. You could have the heat rash more common in children, but then it has it goes higher. You have the heat exhaustion, you have heat cramps, and ultimately heat stroke. So those that come down with the heat stroke are the ones that actually lead to fatality. They're the ones that lead to some form of mortality, but we do not have enough data to support that, there are a lot of people that are actually dying from this heat, that this heat is really bad. And because we've come up with measures that can protect you from the heat, but these measures are not getting down to the masses. Like, not everybody has access to an air conditioning system, and that's the best way for now, even over the fan, to actually try to reduce the temperature where you are. So it's affecting a lot of people, affecting more people that do not have, people living below the minimum wages, those that are not, they can't buy or afford to have an air conditioning in their house.
So because we have a larger number of the people who can't live in air conditioning system and all of that. So what should be the daily guide for anyone in this heat system or within this heat wave? How should one live by it?
First of all, during this heat wave, a lot of people are going to sweat a lot, and you're going to get dehydrated. So dehydration is the most common thing you're going to experience during this heat wave. And when you're dehydrated, you're losing water, you're losing salt. So the best way to replenish this is to drink lots of water. Ideally, you're supposed to take 2.5 to 3 liters of water every day. That's like, if you're going to measure it by the 50 cl bottle, that's like six of that. That's the minimum requirement on a daily, yes, 6.
Won't you sweat the more?
It's even too small, because
won't you sweat the more?
When you take a lot of water, yes, sweating is actually, it's supposed to be like the body's reaction to heat. So sweat, if you notice, actually cools you down. But then when it's humid and there's nowhere for the sweat to be evaporated, and you still have sweat on your body, then it now has adverse effects on you. But the initial compensation of the body to any hot environment is to sweat with the attempt of actually cooling you down. So sweating is actually good once it's not so humid. But we have a double jeopardy here. Apart from the increase in temperatures, it's also very, very humid. So taking a lot of water is the #1 principal step. And when you go out also, you ensure that you stay in shaded areas. If you're a worker, a construction worker, or someone that is always out in the sun, work in shift so that you're not always out in the sun at every time. Limit your exposure to the sun rays.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to this. This discussion will continue so we can get more tips on how to live by this heat wave every day. Dr. Oluwatoyin Adeyemi, thank you so much for
speaking with us. With us in the studio is Public Relations Officer, Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Dr. Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Now, talk to us, right now, a lot of medical experts, if I may put it that way, would say that you should consume a lot of water to stay hydrated. Yeah. But another concern for most people is that even when you stay hydrated, electricity, there is not enough electricity to, help cushion the effect of you wanting to stay hydrated. And then you're on your generator also contributing to whatever is happening in the atmosphere. How complex is this situation if we want to solve it?
Environmental challenges are actually very, very complex because a lot of things, it's like a sequence, so many things going on simultaneously, and all this contributes to global warming and the effects on the environment, the temperature increasing. So a lot of it work hand in hand. But then your immediate need at that point in time is to be hydrated, is to stay cool at that very point in time, because dehydration can lead to death. Excessive heat can lead to heat exhaustion, which can now lead to heat stroke. So at that point in time, your immediate need is actually to reduce your body temperature, and you need your fan or a cooling equipment, either the air conditioning system or your mobile fan. We now have these battery operated fans that you can actually use, which also help conserve energy. So you're not using a lot, and I think a lot of these companies have also come up with environmental friendly air conditioning system. So that's a way to kind of balance the effect, so that you're not trying to feel better and also polluting the air in the process, because all our activities, almost all our activities, the end result of everything is the release of pollutants into the air, and these pollutants now lead to global warming, which ultimately comes back to us as increased temperatures. And that's why we're having things like acid rain and this heat wave that we're currently having now in Lagos.
What kind of health challenges can one be exposed to at this time, where we have the heat wave right now?
Okay, the immediate one, the one that is more common, first of all, there are some people that are more susceptible to any illness associated with heat, and those are the elderly, anybody above 65 years of age, then children that are below 2 years of age, pregnant women, people that are overweight, people that are on some certain medications, because there are some medications like high blood pressure medications that actually drain out water from you. They are called diuretics. So people on some particular kind of medications are more susceptible to coming down to these heat and heat-related illnesses. And the kind of things you see is that all of a sudden you just start feeling, first of all, the minimal symptoms include things like irritability. You're just irritated. So it's not every time that you're irritated that maybe somebody is stressing you. It might just be that you need a glass of water. You start having headaches. You feel nauseous. You feel like vomiting. You have heat cramps, because when you're sweating, when there's a lot of heat, you're losing water. You're losing salt. When you lose salt, the effect is on the muscles, because the muscles need sodium from the salt to actually work very well. So when you're having cramps all over your body and you're just unnecessarily irritable, have a glass of water, drink water. The minimum requirement is 2.5 to 3 liters of water every day. That's like 6 bottles of 50 cl water.
Where's my water?
And you need to take, at this period, you always have to go with your water. Your water always has to be with you, because even if you're not thirsty, you need to drink water. So now you're no more relying on your body to give you signals that I'm thirsty. You have to make a conscious effort, because you need to continue to rehydrate. Then you wear loose, light clothing. In an environment like what you're wearing now is only suited for air-conditioned environments. When you're going out, light, loose clothing, so that you're expelling as much of the air, as much of the heat as much as possible. Stay in cool, shaded environments. For people outside, at least for 2 hours a day, try to find an air-conditioned environment. It could be a public library. You could go to the mall. When you find out that you are hot, unbearably hot, don't try to manage it. The fan doesn't do so much. The only thing, the best thing that can actually reduce this temperature is an air conditioning system. So even if you don't have one at home, look for a supermarket, somewhere you can just hang out for 1 hour, so that you can regulate your body temperature before you now go out into the sun again.
All right.
Okay.
So much to learn.
So much. Where is my glass of water now?
That's it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oluwatoyin Adeyemi, for coming on the program.
Well, with us in the studio is Public Relations Officer, Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Dr. Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
As much as we know that this might continue for a while, one of the aspects is the aspect of nutrition. And I'd like for you to talk to us about this aspect. Are there things that people should avoid at this time that could, you know, trigger one thing or the other because of the heat?
Okay, usually when it's very, very hot, it's actually advised that you don't take heavy meals. You have to eat light meals at regular intervals, because the heavier your meal is, like typical solids that we're used to here, staple food, a pounded yam, foods that are high in carbohydrate content. The heavier the food is, the more it says that you'll be losing a lot of heat, expelling heat. So you're not advised to take heavy meals in this period at all. You're supposed to take light food, and you space it out. You take light food in regular amount of time.
What would constitute light food if you because
as an African man,
as an African man, we're just used to swallow, you know. But what would constitute light food here?
Okay, so light food, you know your swallow. You already know, first of all, we know that the size of our stomach is our clenched fist. I don't know if you're aware of that. Yes.
Some
so
people's stomach seem to be bigger than that.
No, you know, like if he should clench his fist now, you see that his is bigger than mine. So mine, the solid, this is the size of my stomach. So we can use this to measure the amount of solid you eat. Even though
but this can expand.
Yes, the stomach is actually muscular, so it can actually expand. It has muscles in it.
As we keep stuffing everything inside.
Yes, but then this should serve as a guide to the solid you're eating. So it's not as if you're going to stay away from taking swallows. You can take your swallow, but always use this as a guide. It shouldn't be more than this. Instead, you have more of the vegetables, food that can easily digest properly. Because if you take foods that, like if I take pounded yam or that is bigger than this, you find out that in the next 1 hour or something, you're struggling. It hasn't digested, and now that it is really, really hot, and if you now don't drink enough water, that's like double jeopardy, because the body is trying to break down this food. The body is using energy, it's using, and you're hot as well, so it's going to be calamity to the whole body.
All right, drink enough water, stay hydrated, eat light food.
And don't eat more than this.
More than this.
Don't eat more than this.
Thank you so much
Thank you very much.
Dr. Oluwatoyin Adeyemi for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.